Okay, the continuing story of John Sylvie and his mini bees. This is bee number 3. Got it unloaded last night. Got home with it the night before last night. That was Thursday night. Actually, it was Friday morning, I guess, 2 a.m.-ish from Nippa, Texas, 305-mile round trip. Without further ado, Rollomatic, that's for you, Howard. Get the question answered right away. The engine has been taken down to a degree. The head's been taken off, and some other stuff that I forget what sits on top of the head, but anyway, I mean of the block itself. I'll try to get a better view inside those cylinders here in a bit. It's I assume that's the original John Deere generator, and it's 6 volt. The system is all 6 volt. It has not been converted to 12 as far as I know. It's distributor based. I've learned that much. I know the difference between a distributor and a magneto now. Nothing is really frozen up on it. It rolled fine. Everything seemed good on it. Original light bars. Howard, you said something about a lock nut on there. These do not have one. Maybe they're missing. I don't know. These appear to be the original light bars and the lights. I'll get a back view of it here in just a minute as I walk around the tractor. Battery box is in good shape. It's got a 6 volt battery in there now and a wasp nest that I hit with wasp spray last night. So I've got some authentic Nippa Uvalde County wasps bodies now around here. Tires, really good shape. They're no more than a few years old. He said he bought them a few years ago. I'm guessing maybe 5 or 6. They're Firestone Field and Road, 12.4 by 38s. They've been used a little bit. He said he did a bunch of box plating and stuff like that with it before it quit running or before he tore it down. But they're Firestones, which tickled the bejeebers out of me, made me real happy. They hold air. The wheels were set all the way out, and that will not fit between the fender wells of my trailer. So I had to load it and tow it with the back wheels sitting behind the fender wells. So there's fender wells on the trailer, and the back wheels are all the way back on the tail end. It was tail heavy, and the hitch wanted to lift off of the Excursion. I'm guessing about 50 to 100 pounds of lift weight, upward weight. But it worked. I got it home. It was a little dicey and probably over the line of being careful, but that's how I've lived my whole life, and I got bumps and bruises to show for it. As far as I know, this all works. I, of course, have not been able to run it, so I don't know for sure, but he said everything was running when he tore it down. He said he tore it down for low compression. I'm not sure that that's the case. I've got the pistons and rings off. I'll take pictures of those in a little bit. Battery box, it's got what appears to be the original light on it, which looks like it's in really good shape. Very restorable. Like I said, a 6 volt battery. Battery box is not rusted. He said the hydraulics worked. The box blade he had on there, he was lifting and lowering, and I assumed that was with the rock arms, not with the hydraulics themselves. But as of 2 years ago, he said all of that was working, so it's kind of promising. You know, things are not as rusty on this tractor as they are on the others. I got a feeling that this spent part of its life under a roof of some sort, maybe in a barn, maybe in a shed, but it was not as exposed to the weather and the sun as everything else I've got is. Even the steering wheel doesn't look that bad. It doesn't have all the cracks and broken out missing pieces. So that's hopeful. Brakes are fine. and swing around here. It's the other wheel. It's just like the other wheel. They look identical, and they're both Firestones, so that just tickles the hell out of me. Not much else to see over here. Light bar. The throttle lever on here is actually free. The shutter lever is not. It's frozen up. And this thing actually has the radiator shutters in it, I believe. I'm going to terminate this video at a point. Take a few front pieces off so you can see the shutters, and take a picture of those before I end this video. Like I said, the engine's torn down. I'll take some pictures of the other parts, but he's got oily rag stuff down in there right now. I have not had those out. I do not know what shape the bore is in, but he's done a fairly well job for having taken this thing apart 2 years ago. He's done a fairly good job of kind of protecting everything. It's a 49, so there's no water pump. Radiator looks okay. I assume, again, since he was driving it 2 years ago and using it, actually working with it, that the radiator's going to be fine. This side, this grill side, or this front nose piece here is really banged up. He said they did that when they were loading it. I'm not sure what loading he was talking about, but radiator cap looks original. It looks original. The radiator is rusty looking like any other old radiator is. Gas tank actually looks pretty clean, and I assume that's an original gas cap too. Gas tank looks really clean. I'll take a picture of that later, but anyway, it's by far cleaner than the gas tank on the other two that I've got. I guess that's about it. This did not come with a seat cushion, but the whole seat frame is there, and that looks pretty good too. So I'm going to pause this and take this nose piece off and take some pictures of that radiator shutter. Well, the bolts on that cover over the front of the radiator and the shutters are a clutch drive, a round head clutch drive, and I do not have a drive for that, so I'm not going to be getting those off today. Maybe some other day in the future I've got to order some of those drivers. In the meantime, pistons. These, I was playing with them last night. These are 45 thousandths over, and they're aluminum pistons. So this engine has been rebuilt once. The piston, the wrist pins are in there. Everything's kind of rusty. The rings are fairly loose, kind of stuck. I found and read about the 4 top rings, but this bottom ring, I'm not sure what it is. And when I look at ring sets, that doesn't seem to be included in the ring sets, so I got to figure that out. Top of the pistons look like that, and they're marked. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. I don't think you can see it. You can just barely see it. 45 thousandths over. So it's been rebuilt once. Aluminum pistons, as I understand it, the original are cast iron. These are aluminum. Connecting rods. These were in a box shipped from the rebuilder, and they've been rebabbited and cleaned up and worked over. I assume there's a new wrist pin bushing pressed in there also. As we've kind of been discussing in the email thread, I was not aware of what babbiting was and did not realize that these did not have the split ring bearings in them. But anyway, they're freshly rebuilt. This is the invoice from the builder. Paul's Rod and Bearing up in Missouri. This all went down March 18th, 2022. Total price was $406.83, shipping included. And it's a John Deere Bee Rod Recon 2.7515. When I measure the ID of these, it is about that on my crude Harbor Freight caliper. But anyway, both rods been freshly rebuilt and bored out, honed out, whatever, to that 2.7515. I called these guys and asked them about that. They kind of explained the process to me. They explained what babbitt is and what rebabbiting means. I asked him, what kind of metal do you use? And he said, well, that's proprietary. He said every rebuilder has their own little secret formula for the babbitt material, and we don't share that. So y'all probably have a better idea what metal's in there than I do. But anyway, they're clean, freshly rebabbited, and unrun. Carburetor. He said it was running well. It was running real good up to when he stopped using it a few years ago. And that gives me hope for this carburetor, that it's not too rusted up, too plugged up with rust and stuff like that. This is probably, of the 3 Bs, this is probably the best carburetor I've got. One most likely to work without needing a really expensive rebuild, even if it doesn't work perfectly. And rust, but not an insurmountable, I don't know if that's in focus or not, but not a insurmountable amount of rust inside of it. I don't know if you can read that on there. It says DLTX and I think 71. Something dripping out of there. That's water. That's not gasoline, so that's not good. Yeah, that's water. Well, damn. There is some water in it. Posted on the John Deere Facebook forum, and I asked him, what is the source of all of the water you find in the oil and transmission fluid when you drain those? And they said it's primarily condensation. It's not that it's running in any cracks or holes anywhere. It's primarily condensation. So this thing's sitting up. It was actually in a plastic bag when I got it from him, and it had moisture condensed inside the plastic bag. So it does not surprise me that there's funky water dripping out of it. He seemed to have all the pieces. And he gave me all this stuff that came with it. There's some other stuff maybe under there. I forget which bee some of that stuff was from. But it seems to all be there. When I got it, it was all boxed up. And it seems to... I have not found anything missing yet. This cover, I cannot figure out where it goes. If you know where this cover goes, let me know. Because I can't find where on the tractor it goes to, unless it's associated with the... I don't know, the air cleaner maybe? Anyway, got to figure that out. But he had stuff, not very sorted, but he had it all bagged. All the nuts and bolts and things like that. So, 4 push rods right there. So, I'll find out how much of it is here if I really want to try to put this thing back together. The head is there. He left the manifold, intake exhaust manifold on it, left the valves in it. None of the valves appear to be stuck, so that's good. Back side of the head, I see that valve is stuck open a little bit. I don't know if that's happened since he took it apart or if that was the reason that he didn't have any compression in there. That was his claim, was he took it apart. It had been running good, and then it didn't have any compression. Hard to tell what's stuck open and what's not. That appears to be fairly well seated, but that one has definitely got a gap down in there. It's kind of open, but rusty from sitting open for a couple of years, but not too bad. As far as I can tell, all the parts are here. I haven't found anything that's missing yet. I think he gave me everything. He did a fairly good job of keeping it all together and making it available to me. He also gave me a thick binder with several documents in it, like the Model B operator's manual, what appears to be some shop or repair guides, things like that. I haven't really looked at it in detail. Well, I'm going to wrap this up for now. When I get those heads, get the rags pulled out of there, and I've got I got a bore, not a bore scope, a bore measuring tool. I'll put that in there, measure those bores, and take some pictures of what the insides of the cylinders look like and what the measurements come out to be size-wise. Obviously, it's going to be drilled 45 thousandths over, given that that's what the pistons are. But if that's the case, it leaves plenty of room. I guess they make 90 thousandths over and 125 thousandths over. So got wiggle room there to go up in bore size if I want to have the cylinder rebored. At the moment, my plans are to not put any more money into it than I absolutely have to get it to go bang, if it'll go bang. But that's it. A lot of original stuff on here, more than I've seen on any other tractor or any of the other three that I bought, the 2Bs and the G. So I'll dig into a little bit more and send more info. That's it for now.